Black Hollow, a sleepy town where fishing boats bobbed and seagulls called. Then the fog came. Not natural, this fog crawled, coiled around houses. Sunlight vanished. The air grew cold. Unyielding grey swallowed Black Hollow whole. Old Man Hemlock on his porch swing felt it first. A chill deeper than the fog's damp, like something watched him. He squinted into the swirling grey. Just weather, he mumbled. But doubt gnawed at him, old as the sea itself. Down by the docks, Sarah, a high school senior, waited for her ride. Headlights usually cut through fog. Not this time. This fog swallowed light sound. Even the waves seemed muted. She hugged her jacket tighter. Where was Mark's truck? Mark's truck never came. 1 minute Sarah was texting, impatient. Next she looked up. The fog pressed closer. Mark was gone. His truck vanished. Only silence, thick and unsettling, remained. Panic welled in Sarah's chest. She ran towards town, fog clawing at her heels. Each breath tasted strange, metallic. The streetlights, usually beacons, were swallowed by the grey. Black Hollow was gone, replaced by a swirling, disorienting maze. Morning, no Mark. Sheriff Brody, gruff but kind, tried to soothe fears. Fogs rolled in thick before, probably car trouble. But his eyes, reflecting the unnatural grey outside, held worry. Black Hollow held its breath. Then more disappeared. Mrs. Clementine walking her poodle, Coco gone. Only Coco's leash, dangling from the mailbox, remained. Then young Timmy playing hide and seek. 1 minute giggling behind the oak tree, next empty space. The fog took them, quiet and absolute. Fear turned to terror. Black Hollow, once filled with gossip and laughter, spoke in hushed tones. The fog wasn't natural. Something lurked within. Whispers started. Voices heard in the fog. Shapes glimpsed, tall and gaunt, then gone. Eli Watts, delivery driver new to town, scoffed. Fog's fog. People imagine things. He'd seen fear warp reality before, but driving into Black Hollow that day, even he felt a shiver. The fog pressed against his truck, a living presence. He could almost swear he saw a face staring at him from its depths. Eli's route took him past Old Man Hemlock's. Old Man Hemlock, who hadn't left his porch since the fog rolled in. He sat there still, a silhouette against the grey. Eli, out of sorts, decided to check on him. "You okay there, old-timer?" Eli called, stepping onto the porch. But Old Man Hemlock didn't answer. He sat still, unnaturally so. Eli reached out to touch his shoulder, and the figure crumpled. Just clothes, draped over nothing, empty. Terror, cold and sharp, pierced Eli. He stumbled back. In the swirling fog, a figure coalesced, tall, skeletal, with eyes that burned like embers. It reached for him, long fingers tipped with claws. Eli screamed, scrambling back, falling off the porch into the fog. The figure in the fog, he ran, blinded, choking on the thick air. The figure's rasping breath echoed behind him. Eli didn't look back. He crashed through bushes, stumbled over unseen obstacles. Black Hollow, once familiar, was now a labyrinth of terror. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his arm. He screamed again, thrashing wildly, but it was Sarah. Her eyes were wide with terror, mirroring his own. "The figure," she gasped. "It took my dad." They ran together, two souls hunted in the swirling grey. The fog, muffled sound, distorted sight. Every shadow seemed to hold the figure, every whisper of wind its voice. They had to escape. But where in this swallowed town could they go? They stumbled upon the school, dark, silent, but at least it offered shelter, a barrier against the fog. Inside they huddled in the cafeteria, listening to the silence. Every creak of the building, every sigh of the wind sent shivers down their spines. "What is this?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. Eli shook his head. He didn't know, but he knew one thing. The fog had a purpose. It was hunting. and they were the prey. Hours crawled by. The fog pressed against the windows, an oppressive presence. They heard sounds, scratches, whispers. Once they swore they saw a face staring at them through the frosted glass. Then, just as suddenly, silence. Morning arrived, but the fog remained. They were trapped. Eli tried the phones, but the lines were dead. The radio only emitted static. Black Hollow was cut off, isolated by the fog and whatever lurked within. They had to escape. They found an old truck in the auto shop, its engine coughing but alive. As they drove through the fog-choked streets, they saw them, shapes frozen in the mist. Mrs. Clementine, Timmy, Old Man Hemlock, gone, taken by the fog. The road out of town was blocked by fallen trees, twisted and unnatural. The fog seemed to press closer, constricting their escape. Eli looked back. The figure stood on the hill, watching them. Its eyes burned in the grey mist. They abandoned the truck, fleeing into the woods. The fog was thinner here, but the air still hummed with unseen menace. They ran until they reached the old lighthouse, its beacon extinguished by the fog. There, on the cliffs overlooking the churning sea, they found the answer. The fog swirled below, and within its depths they saw it, a massive shape, ancient and evil, rising from the depths. The fog was its breath, its tendrils reaching out to claim the town. Eli understood. Black Hollow was built on a forgotten pact, a sacrifice to appease the creature below, and now it had come to claim its due. They never escaped Black Hollow. No one did. The fog retreated as suddenly as it came, leaving behind an eerie silence and the missing townsfolk. Some say the town is cursed, forever bound to the creature in the depths. And on foggy nights, if you listen closely, you can still hear them. Whispers on the wind, carried on the cold sea breeze. The lost souls of Black Hollow, claimed by the fog. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface, waiting for its moment to rise again.